So let's get acquainted with the actual editor and understand a bit where everything lives and how we'll use it to edit and build our designs. So after you create a new design, this will be the layout for it. And it's fairly simplistic. The main thing where you'll be working is here in the middle. This is where all the design is going to take place. But let's first talk about the actual kind of surrounding interface and understand the various pieces. So really quickly, the top bar here, this is, you can think of it like a file bar or the very top bar in any program like Word, PowerPoint, Google Slides. So file, you can rename it. You can just start a brand new design if you're done with this one. Margins and print bleed, that relates to how much spacing you should have on the outside. Also helps with kind of placing and keeping the spacing similar throughout. Print bleed, if you are going to have this printed, it's important to know that you need to have the color or the design go outside of it, because when the print gets cut, it's going to be cut right there. So if you have it just go up to the edge, you might end up having kind of a white outside. So that just relates to if you're going to be printing these designs at all. The print bleed and the margins, we can go ahead and take that out. And otherwise it's save, although all changes are saved constantly as you're doing it. You're not going to need to hit save all that often. Save to a folder from the previous lesson. You can create your custom folders and you can then from here put it into that folder. Make a copy. This is a good place, or we just open this design and want to make a duplicate so we can make another design. And then the help one. Resize is a pro feature where it allows you to re-enter the pixels and it tries to shove things around, but that's a pro one. We won't worry about it. Undo. So if we've made some changes and we've made a mistake, you can hit this little undo button and it jumps back, keeps going back and back and back. It's worth noting that keyboard shortcuts, a lot of them work within Canva. What I mean is Control or Command Z, just like any other desktop application, will bring you back to what was happening, to where it was before. So it's a nice way to have an undo if you've made a mistake. So continuing on really quickly, on the top here we have a text here. This is the name of it. So understanding the editor interface. And that's now the name of this file. A little ad for Canva Pro, share. So you'll see that I have my team here. If you did create a team from the dashboard, and this says you can let people view it or edit it. So this is where it's kind of quick. If you have 3 or 4 people, you want to be able to see, like to review or to edit your work. And otherwise you can copy the link and send it off to anyone else or email them directly if you'd like to. So in the top right we have download. So this button, you can click the download button itself and it kind of shortcuts to downloading the file itself as a PNG, JPEG, PDF, various options. Animation is a pro feature, but video, if you had a GIF or other elements within it, you could download it from here. But clicking on that gets the download. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. Clicking the arrow beside the download gives you a few more options. These ones are interesting where if you want to share the link, so again for review or passing it to team members, you can get the share link from that. So clicking this down arrow again, present. If you've done a presentation or you want to do a series of slides or you want to use this to show a bunch of people something, you can create the presentation. So you can copy it, and when you paste it anywhere, that will come up. And they don't even necessarily need to be logged in. So if you're sharing it with a team member and this is how you want to present a slide deck or anything else, that's a really great option. So it just presents a Facebook mode. Facebook and Twitter and email, so Facebook and Twitter, this, if you connect your account, you can just post immediately to Facebook or Twitter. So if you have a nice quote you want to put to your Facebook page, if you connect the account, it'll automatically show up right to that Facebook page. Same with Twitter, just automatically tweets it out for you. Email this to somebody. And then as what file type, PNG, PDF, you get to choose. So it's all about the sharing options. That's a little arrow beside the download. Small, subtle change. Let's hop over to the left side, and this is the main thrust of everything. This is where we'll grab anything that we want to design with. Any of the elements that we can drag to the board, we can use to create the design. Now, what's really important, what I really want to stress is this search bar is fantastic. So if you want a particular feel or a target market or a particular object or item, use the search. The search, it really speeds up your workflow. So here we could say, for instance, business, and because I'm in the template tab, it's going to try to find me anything that it thinks is related to that. If we say makeup, it's going to try to pull in a bunch of makeup templates that I could use. So again, now search is contextual, and we're going to go through these in detail, but just quickly, again, so I've clicked on the Photos tab on the left, and now if I do makeup, it's going to find me all the photos with makeup in it, right? Or balloons, all this great stuff. Now you want to be cautious here too, because again, it's going to show you free ones and paid ones. We'll talk about some tricks around that in the future, but make sure that whatever you're clicking on doesn't have the little crown, otherwise you're going to need to pay for it. And again, that was just kind of a quick demonstration. It really helps with elements. If I want to find a circle, you'll find a bunch of circles. So search is really going to speed up your flow for all of these items. In future videos, I'll go through each one of these in detail and talk about how to manipulate and edit the elements, but it's just important to know whenever you want to add something, it exists here on the left side, and really take advantage of search. So let's talk about this main design area. This is where everything happens. This is what we're going to be trying to build and design within. So whatever you see within this square, with a white square that's kind of a bit of a shadow from the back, that's what you save. So if I take this and as you can see, as I take it to the left side, it gets cut off because this is the photo that'll finally be there. And that's really useful because if you want to have a shape, you're able to kind of manipulate it and have them show up on the outside, right? And then use that to cut off elements as you would need it. So only what's within the white will actually download. You'll notice too, as I created those elements, I was able to use Control-C and Control-V or Command-C, Control for as far as copy and paste. So Control-C or Command-C, and same with Control-V or Command-V. Copy and paste, and that can really speed things up. And as we mentioned previously, Control-Z will undo, or Command-Z will undo. Same with this button here. And in fact, if you want to redo, same options there. Control-Shift-Z, Command-Shift-Z, or the redo. So those keyboard shortcuts exist on as well. So that's super useful. Other thing to know is right-click also exists for you to use and try to speed things up. If I right-click on this element, I'm giving other options. So I can copy it, I can paste it. I'll right-click again, I'll just paste. Right, so I can copy and paste. Right-click is useful for that. And now that there's more objects, there you can see that you can send it to back or send forward. I'm going to talk a little bit about layers in a future episode, but it's just useful to know that if you want to quickly put things forward or back, you can right-click and do it right in place. Now in addition, you'll notice these little icons on the top here. So if you want to add notes to this, so if you have team members coming in, you can quickly just add your notes. Do you like this gradient? And that'll be a note at any point that someone can come and see. If you want to copy this page, so this looks pretty good, but I'm going to create a back that's somewhat similar. Clicking these double pages, these two kind of ones over top of another, will copy it for us. Now you can see there's a page 2 and there's a page title. And let's call that one back. And we'll scroll up and there's the first one, front. So you can have multiple pages within it, right? Front and back. And of course you can change this one however you want, and then you have the two different designs. If you want to add a brand new fresh page, you can simply come down to the bottom here and click Add New Page. In addition, that also exists here in the top right. So don't think that the canvas is just that one board. You can create multiple of them, and then you can imagine too, if you download it as a PDF, it's multiple pages, or multiple images if it's PNG. So multiple boards. Same thing on the right side here, so if you want to delete a page, you'll have the little trash can icon. And away that goes. Now I'm down to 1, 2, and 3. If you want to reorder it, especially important within a PDF or whatever you're creating, you can see these arrows here for moving it. Move up, move down. So boards that you can use, create multiple of them, duplicate them, delete them, move them around in order. Super useful. Now the next thing to consider is what we call I like to call the Contextual Action Bar. So that's this white bar underneath the main blue one, and when you select something, the options you can apply to it show up right there. So I've selected this blob here, and now I can see what options do I have. So I can change the colors of this particular blob. Let's change the gradient to something different, just so we can tell the difference. Right? So I clicked on it, and then up top, it showed up there. In this particular case, and we'll be going one, you'll see a lot more of this as we proceed through the specific elements on the left side. But if we crop it, it'll allow you to cut it off if you don't want the entire thing. And I'm going to press Control Z. That's how that one is brought up. And flip, easy enough. You know, it's not going to be the same for every element you bring on. Like each one will have some different options. Now, for instance, if I just quickly drag in a photo, for instance, let's get this nice one of a balloon. You can see that the contextual menu for this is different. And again, we'll talk about this more when we actually cover photos. It's just important to know that whatever you can do to this will show up in the white bar above the canvas. So I'm going to just kind of get rid of that for now. Now, ones that will commonly show up here is on the right side, so these are a bit more useful. So duplicate, obvious enough. This is just like Control copy and paste. This is just like copy and paste from the right-click menu. Position, again, this is a kind of the slower way from the right-click to choose if it's in front of something or behind something. So from here, we can move it around to back. So this is a new one, copy style. They had actually just released this one where if I want this gradient to copy this color, I can select it, can copy the style, and you can see now when I started the paintbrush was white, and now when I click on it, it's selected. So I can come here, and there it goes to that. So one more time. So if we want to copy it and then select, you can see as I drag over now, it has the black outline. If you've done this by mistake, just click it again to remove it. But you can kind of think it's like dipping it in the paint, and now I have the paint. You look at my cursor, it's now that little paintbrush. What do I want to copy the style to? This one. So if you've made these type of edits and you want to quickly copy that to somewhere else, that's a super useful little tool. So let's do that in the reverse. So I have this selected. I'm going to hit the paintbrush or the paint roller and then select what I want to copy that style. Now finishing off the other really useful ones, transparency. So simply enough, it allows you to choose its opacity, if you can see through it or not. And remembering that if you have multiple shapes, it'll show up what is behind it. So select it, top right, transparency. Link, if you want to link to a website. So if you do create a PDF, often you can output the links of where it would go. This isn't going to really apply if it's a image, of course. There's no links within an image, but a PDF you can link to outside sources. Think about if it's a workbook and you tell them go to this page to get free photos. You could link out to it. Same thing if it's a presentation. So in a few of the download options, you can output files that would have links within it, and that's how you would apply it. Let's see. So lock. Let's say I want to get behind this. This shape is perfect. I don't want to touch this shape anymore. I want to get to the one behind it. This one keeps getting in the way. You can lock it. So all that happens, now I can't touch it. So I can touch the shape behind it though, so I can't move it. I can't make any edits to it. I can't delete it by accident. You can select it though, and doing so will allow you to unlock it. So you can, if you selected a locked element, you go to the top right and unlock. And obviously enough, if you click an element and then hit the trash can, it deletes. Now, if you want to make the last one with an item selected, you can hit the comment. So you can comment on this item in particular. Do you like this transparent? So now this object has it. You can see it, my little facer is floating around with me. Actually, a really useful thing to mention, if I could just get rid of my face here for a second. In the bottom right, you'll see the zoom, if you're having a hard time kind of getting in or out, to see what that would look like if you want to work on really detailed work. Now you can do that. And more interesting too is if you have a bunch of pages, you can actually hit this called the Page Manager. And this will show all your pages sequentially. So you'll be able to then add new pages, move things around. And if you have kind of a longer document, if you're creating like a workbook or something, that could be super useful. And right from here, you can see you can copy, you can delete, create a new page. It becomes super useful. If you double click on one, and you'll actually go to that page as well. So that can be a bit of a lifesaver, really. And as I said, we'll get into the various options for the elements themselves as we go. But that gives you a overview of the interface itself. Very friendly, very simple to use, fairly intuitive as far as clicking, and then whatever you have selected, its options are presented to you right away. So if you're not sure you can do something, just click it and everything will kind of present. And again, I'll remind you that the search is incredibly powerful and it really can save you a lot of time. So if you're looking for a photo, element, text, anything, give it a search. It'll help you improve. So that's the elements. We're going to now jump, or that's the interface I should say. We're going to now jump into the individual elements that you can add from the left side, talk about how to use them, edit them, and start making your great looking work. See you in the next episode.